This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. Fine holiday Monday, Labor Day. And no, we are not talking about the Edmonton Oilers season getting underway for preseason action in 8 or 9 days from now. We're still in the conference finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Vegas just lost to Dallas 1-0, and well, you know what? That just is what it is. So we find ourselves as Oilers fans now all of a sudden seeing that some rumors are cropping up really good now. Obviously, the one from the other day, Max Domi, and one that we've been tied to since being eliminated from the playoff contention back in early August. Obviously, Matt Murray. And I want to discuss Matt Murray today because it's one that takes a lot of interesting notes here in terms of the kind of potential for this, right? We talked about earlier trading Mikko Koskinen to upgrade the goaltending and all that. So right now I want to just share with you Matt Murray's stats. And if you're new to the channel and you want to stick around for this offseason, which is going to be unlike any other, I promise you I'm going to try and update you as much as possible right now. Just still trying to get out of summer, which, well, we advanced to the championship round of our playoff pool in slow pitch. So I promise you after about next week I should get back to a regular schedule here. But Matt Murray, these are his stats dating back to 2015, 2016, and then 16, 17, 18, go on and on and on and on. So Matt Murray this year had 38 games played. That was 38 games started, 20 wins, 11 losses, 5 OT shootout losses. So the guy ended up getting the Pittsburgh Penguins a total of 45 points this season in the column to help them make the playoffs as the 5th seed in the East. Technically speaking, they would have done much better than that, but those crazy new playoff rules, right? Goals against 107, which is technically a low in his career for a full 35 plus games, but actually a high compared to the 50-49 game seasons he's played prior. An 899 save percentage and a 287 goals against average for Matt Murray. So not like we're talking exactly stellar stats here for a guy that's got all this hype in acquiring him, right? A guy that's won a couple Stanley Cups, sure, but this is not the kind of hype we're talking about when it comes to a guy that you just realistically sounds like you're going to have to trade a lot to get. He had 16 quality starts out of 38 games started, so less than half his games started were quality starts. That's a 421 quality start percentage, which is the lowest of his career. And then, of course, you get into all those fancy stats here, and it really didn't look that golden of a year for Matt Murray. However, he did rebound to have quite the playoff performance, and I think that's what you know you're getting out of Matt Murray is a quality goaltender in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'll quickly read you those stats here for you, and then we'll move on to the full discussion. So Matt Murray, last year, you know what? Yeah, so last year he had 4 losses in 4 games played, a sweep, and a 302 906 goals, or 302 goals against average, 906 save percentage. So even though Matt Murray, gave up more than 3 goals a game, still had a save percentage of 906 in the playoffs in a sweep. So I don't think you're blaming Matt Murray 100% as the reason the Penguins lost last year. If you are and you're a Penguins fan, please tell me and update me and educate me. And this year, a 914 save percentage, 250 goals against average, and a 1-2 record in 3 games started for Matt Murray. So again, right, it maybe hang 1 loss on him, but it doesn't look like he can hang both losses in only 8 goals against in 3 games played. So that's Matt Murray. The only issue is you go over to Cap Friendly, right, and all of a sudden, you know what, let's trade for Matt Murray. I hear he's on a good contract, 3.75 mil. Yeah, we can deal with that next year if we can get Koskinen plus something out the door for him. My friends, his contract is up this year, and that is exactly where we run into issues with this Matt Murray trade idea for the Edmonton Oilers. Similar to why I haven't covered the Max Domi rumors is no matter who you trade out, you're bringing in an RFA. And when you're trading for RFA rights, you've got 2 things to consider. A, they need a new contract. B, do they want to sign that new contract with you? And that's where it gets really interesting. So for Matt Murray, a $3.75 million cap hit after 3 years of that, is he going to want to sign for about that, above that, or way above that? And that is kind of the question. At 26 years old, he's looking probably for that big contract. So you're probably looking at least 5.5 for Matt Murray. And now, after I've read you the stats, would you be willing to give Matt Murray 5.5 based on what he did in 38 games played this year? No. Problem is, he's had the reputation to demand that. So I think you almost have to give it to him to allow him to go out and earn that money. So do you go out there and trade all those assets just to pay a goaltender $5.5 million? Yikes, right? The cap for the Oilers gets less and less by the day as we re-sign guys from the team that went to war this year and lost against the Chicago Blackhawks. Right, is right now the current count, we have a total of just under $11 million in cap to use going into next year. 70.780 is committed against the cap next season. And what we lost in Eric Greiba's buyout, this is the other thing here. I know I hyped this up. I hyped this up a lot, is we lost money in the Eric Greiba buyout, but if you were paying attention to TSN the other day, they had an article out about Mike Smith's playoff bonuses or Mike Smith's bonuses or recapture money, whatever the term is correctly for performance salary bonuses carrying over to next year due to cap exceeding the cap in the season prior. Mike Smith carries over to this year, which essentially cancels out that free money we get from the Eric Greiba buyout, so that's interesting there. Once again, the Oilers will carry just over 4.5 million in dead cap hit, almost 4.6 million for Lucic, Benoit Pouliot, and Andrei Sekera. Now, yes, Pouliot after next year done, and all of a sudden we free up $1.33 million, and that is how, my friends, you re-sign Nugent Hopkins to a $6.5 million deal. And, of course, you don't want to eat up any of that money signing Matt Murray after trading assets for him. And, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's, man, you give me Matt Murray in the Edmonton Oilers uniform, I'm pretty excited about that. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited about a potential Matt Murray in Edmonton Oilers uniform. And if for the right deal we get him in for the right contract, bing, bang, boom, and the other thing, I'm happy. But I'm just not seeing it here in any way, shape, or form that the math makes sense to bring him in. I mean, even, yeah, who would you trade out, right? Who would you trade out? Do you trade out Josh Archibald? No, you committed to him for 2 more years. Do you trade Mikko Koskinen plus Jujhar Khaira and a prospect for Matt Murray? I guess in that sense, you know what, honestly, if you talk about Mikko Koskinen, Jujhar Khaira, and a prospect for Matt Murray, there's your cap space to sign him. That's $5.7 million, and you contribute that. Okay, now we're talking. You're saving $200,000 on the cap. Good. I'm happy there. All right. That's maybe I just had to wait this long into the video to give you something of use. But are the Penguins really about to take Jujhar Khaira, Mikko Koskinen, and a prospect for Matt Murray? And I'm talking not a good prospect by any means. Realistically, if you're giving up a quality starting goaltender in the NHL, and you're giving up, of course, Jujhar Khaira, who's an NHL player, third, fourth line, however you view him, however you value him, and then of course you have to find a prospect in there. And who do you give up? Niemelainen, Berglund? Do you give up Legason? Do you give up Samorukov? Definitely not Bouchard. Definitely not Broberg. Do you give up a guy like Snalfine, who we've already talked about, Maximov? You don't give up Benson. Do you throw them a flyer on Marody? Who do you give up? That's the question, right? And I really don't see us giving up anyone that's going to make a big needle mover for the Pittsburgh Penguins when we've got to fill out a farm club and make them as competitive as we can this year off the hop when everybody returns December 4th to AHL action, as according to the current plan. So, again, I just don't see Matt Murray coming to the Edmonton Oilers. I love rumor season. Don't get me wrong, and I'd love to have done a trade proposal on this. But if you guys are skewering me over the Rasmus Ristolainen trade proposal that I took from Rugged, I am not willing to venture out there and get skewered on this one by the rumor mill. Sorry, guys. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. That's my take on Matt Murray. I don't know, maybe I'm off kilter on this one, but let me know in the comments section below. I am up on out of here.